In this episode of Mind the Gap, Michael shares a personal revelation about something many of us live with every day without noticing: the tyranny of immediate response. From the constant buzz of notifications to the reflex to answer every message instantly, Michael reflects on how this quiet demand shapes our days and steals our peace. This is an honest, personal exploration of the challenge of slowing down in a world that demands speed, and how even those who teach reflection sometimes struggle to practice it. Here's Michael.
They say we carry the world in our pockets, but I think we are really carrying a tyrant. A small, rectangular, vibrating tyrant that demands our attention every hour, every minute, every moment. We answer it because we fear missing out. We answer it because we think we must. We answer it because somewhere along the way, we forgot to say, not now. A friend remarked recently on how quickly I answer the phone. They meant it as a compliment, I think, but I realise it was also a clue to the immediacy I live with, the reflex I have to respond, to answer, to react, often before I've even thought about whether I need to or not. I'm a slave to this too. The phone has become the concrete block I carry around, the master I check in with, the jailer I willingly report to. Even as I speak about stoicism and emotional intelligence, even as I guide others in building space between feeling and reaction, I feel the buzz in my pocket, the itch to see what has come in, the anxiety of leaving it unanswered. And I suspect I'm not alone. There's a phrase I return to from Epictetus: we have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. If we update that for today, perhaps it becomes: we have 2 moments of reflection for every message we receive. But do we use them? Or do we see the notification, feel the spike of adrenaline, and respond immediately? I remember once turning off my phone, trying to embrace this silence, this disconnection that we're talking about. It was a Tuesday night. I turned the phone off. And would you know that was the day the alarm monitoring company tried to call me. They couldn't get through, so they called the fire brigade. And I ended up with a €300 fine. It's a moment that still makes me cringe, but it captures the fear many of us have about switching off in a world that maybe doesn't allow us to switch off. We fear missing something important, something that will cost us financially or otherwise. I think if the Stoics were with me that day watching the fire brigade turn up, they would nod quietly and remind me that the only thing within my control was how I respond to this situation. Marcus would probably say, you control your mind, not the world. Epictetus might remind me that we're tested not by the event, but our reaction to it. And maybe Seneca would remind me to keep my sense of humour and perspective, and that a €300 fine is a small price for a good story and a lesson in setting up better systems when I choose to disconnect. And let's be honest, for many of us, it's not just about missing a work email or message. Anyone with children or elderly parents knows the fear that comes from being unreachable, even for a short while. We're almost programmed to fear that if we switch off, that will be the moment we're needed most. And that fear keeps us tied to the phone. It keeps us checking, keeps us on call, even when it's costing us our peace. I don't have an easy answer to this one. The Stoics would remind us to control what we can and let go of what we can't. But that doesn't mean ignoring our responsibilities. It means having a system, a trusted contact, or clear times when we're unavailable, rather than being endlessly available. Because while care for others is a virtue, living in constant anxiety isn't the same as being prepared. I've noticed how our need to respond immediately often comes from discomfort. That moment of silence, that pause between seeing a message and deciding how to answer, can feel awkward. It can feel like an itch we need to scratch. We think if we answer quickly, the discomfort will go away. But what actually happens is we train ourselves to react, not to respond. Cal Newport, in his book Deep Work, writes, "Clarity about what matters provides clarity about what does not." The tyranny of immediate response thrives in the absence of clarity. When we don't know what matters most, everything feels urgent. When we know what matters, we can let the non-urgent wait. Jenny Odell, in How to Do Nothing, reminds us that true attention is the act of resistance in a culture of distraction. To pause before responding, to let a message wait, to take time before deciding how to or whether to reply. These are small acts of freedom. They're also acts of kindness. Kindness to ourselves because they reduce stress and anxiety. Kindness to others because they allow us to respond with care, not haste. Our culture rewards immediacy. Quick replies, immediate pings, rapid likes. We're taught that speed equals efficiency and efficiency equals value. But the truth is, most of the time, what feels urgent is not important. And what is important often needs quiet, unhurried thought. When we respond to everything immediately, we let others see our agenda. We become reactive rather than proactive. We live at the mercy of every beep and buzz. When we reclaim the gap between receiving and responding, we reclaim our freedom. I remember a day when I left my phone in another room for an hour while writing. The silence was loud. I felt the pull, the worry, the phantom buzz. And then, the longer I left it, the quieter my mind became. I wrote more clearly. I was more present. I realized how noisy my day had been without me even noticing. That's the hidden cost of constant connectivity. The noise becomes normal, and we forget what quiet feels like. So what can we do? Well, here are a few gentle, practical steps shared not as commandments, but as invitations. Aeroplane mode as a modern Stoic practice. Try using it for 1 hour a day while you work, walk, or share a meal. Let the world wait for a while. Delay response consciously. Let a non-urgent message sit. Not everything needs an instant reply. Notice what it feels like to wait. And also notice how sometimes that response is better when you've waited. Separate urgent from important. Ask yourself, does this really need my attention right now, or is it just seeking it? Notice the discomfort, and this is pure Stoicism. When you feel the urge to check, pause, breathe. See what it feels like to let the moment pass without acting. Create phone-free zones. Keep your phone away from the dinner table, your writing desk, or your reading chair. Allow yourself to be fully in the moment. Same goes for the side of the bed. Reflect on what you're protecting. If you fear being unreachable, have a plan. Share your landline or have a trusted contact for emergencies. This helps you switch off without fear. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. The buzzing phone, the blinking notifications, the unread messages, these are outside events. How you choose to respond, when you choose to respond, and whether you choose to respond at all, these are all within your control. Perhaps this week you might try a small experiment. Choose 1 hour, 1 morning, or 1 afternoon to be unreachable. Let the messages wait. Let the phone sit in another room. Notice the discomfort and notice what you gain in the silence. Because in that pause, in that small gap, there is a freedom that many of us have forgotten how to claim. The phone is the concrete block we carry around and the tyrant we answer to. But it only has the power we give it. Perhaps it's a time to pause, to breathe, to wait. Let the tyrant know that you're no longer its slave. And I have to be honest with you, I'm still working on this. I can talk about pausing, about reclaiming the gap between receiving and responding, about turning the phone off and letting the world wait. But I'm not there yet. Like many of us, I'm still learning to practice what I preach. And as physicians say, heal thyself. So if you find yourself struggling to step back from the tyranny of immediate response, know that you're not alone. I'm there too, taking small steps, learning to pause, and reminding myself that in the quiet, there's a freedom. This is Mind the Gap. Thank you for listening.
Well, I wonder, did he answer that call? If this episode on the tyranny of immediate response resonated with you, please consider sharing it with a friend who might need a gentle reminder to pause. You can also leave a review wherever you listen to your podcasts, as it helps others discover Mind the Gap. And if you'd like to continue exploring the art of slowing down and reclaiming your time, you can also listen to Echoes from the Margins, our companion podcast that looks at wisdom from traditions around the world. Thank you for taking these few minutes to pause with us today. Until next time, take care of your time, your attention, and your precious moments of quiet.